At the core of writing JavaScript, you'll find functions. Functions are reusable blocks of code that can perform tasks when called upon. They help us write efficient applications by grouping commonly performed tasks into a single block of code, which can then be executed if it's needed. So we're going to write the basics of our tabbed panel functions down here in the script tag. To do that, open up the next.html file found in 08_03, although we are kind of just picking up right where we left off. So if you wanted to keep the other one open, that's fine too. So underneath the comment that says tabbed panels, I'm going to tab over and I'm going to write our first function by typing in window. This is the window object, .onload equals function. And then I'm going to open and close parentheses, open a curly brace, just like we did with CSS, and I'm going to hit return twice and close it. Let's talk about what this is. So window is referencing an object, and the object is the document window itself, meaning the page you're on. OnLoad is referencing an event, so when you're finished loading. So this is just another way of saying, hey, that when the page has finished loading, I want to perform a function. I want to execute some code. So essentially now everything in these curly braces is going to execute. It's just some syntax, basically, like the open and close parentheses. That may seem confusing to you. But the curly braces, if you did our chapter on CSS, you're probably used to that. They're used to basically group code together that's going to execute when this function is run. This function is going to run when the page loads. So this is also what we call an anonymous function, meaning it doesn't really have a name. It just performs and does something for us. Okay, now inside of this, I'm just going to do a couple of comments to remind me of what has to happen inside this function. I'm going to type in set initial panel state. And then on a line below that, I'm going to type in listen for clicks on tabs. Now, I like doing this when I'm in the planning stages of my scripting. So I'll get down and I kind of sketch what I want the application or the little widget or whatever it is that I'm working on to do. And then I'll write little comments to myself like this, like, hey, I need to set the initial panel state so that 1 is visible and 2 are hidden. And then I need to register event listeners for the tabs so that when they're clicked on, I can respond to them. So those are the two things that I really need this particular function to do for me. All right, so I'll also need one more function as well. So I'm going to go down on the next line and I'm going to type in function and then space and then display panel. And notice the P is capitalized there. This is called camel case naming, and lowercase first word, uppercase second word, they're all one big thing. Next thing I'm going to do is open and close my parentheses here. So this function name is not something that already exists inside JavaScript. This is something that I came up with. I invented this, and JavaScript allows us to do that. Essentially, I'm creating a function. I'm giving it a name, whatever I want to name it. In this case, I'm naming it display panel. The names of functions typically describe what they do. And then inside this, I'm going to store code that does just that displays the panel when something has been clicked on. So I can call this anytime I want to by calling this particular name. I'm going to open up a curly brace here. I'm going to hit return twice, close my curly braces. So syntactically, it looks similar, but this is how we create what we call a named function. And I gave it the name that I wanted for it, which was display panel. Inside of this, I'm going to go ahead and do a comment here. I'm going to say respond to tab clicks. So I'm describing the functionality that I want inside of it. And on the next line, I'm going to do one more comment. I'm going to type in change panel display and activate tabs. All right, I'll save that. So right now, it's not really going to do anything for us, but we have sort of what I like to call the skeletons of the functions that are going to complete our tabbed panel for us. One of them will fire when our document loads, and another function will fire when we call it.